Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Edwenka, and if you've just joined us, we're having a conversation about autism. My guests are Area Fobbs and Miss Carolyn Igwe and Miss Susan Osborne, and we're going through the discussions about the new program that's coming on stream to identify, to assess persons who may have autism, and to provide treatment and help them to develop and realize their full potential. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. We left off talking about the program development, and I wanted to know how big this program is going to be.
Okay.
And regarding infrastructure, facilities, and staff, and so on.
Okay.
Is that something that has already been decided, and you know?
The location?
Location, yes, you got a location?
Yes. The first phase of this project will be housed at the second floor of the Rainbow Children's Home.
Okay.
Over the next couple months, we are going to be making some major renovations to that building, which is now government owned, and including basic things. As you will, when you speak later on, we will talk more about some of the things, that conditions that are suitable for persons with autism, but minor changes in terms of tiling, the types of tiles that you have, and we want to make sure that the rooms are fitted. For example, you know, some children might need wheelchair access, so we have to make sure that the rooms are suitable for access for wheelchairs. But some major, just renovating color schemes are important, and also one of the things we're going to be doing is the windows, changing the windows to make sure the building is soundproof, air conditioned, because songs and autism, persons with autism, they can't deal with certain types of songs. It might be it's not helpful, it's not good for them. So we have to make sure that we're going to soundproof the building and make some other changes, improve the general appearance, so that we can roll out the Autism Center in September.
Okay. Anything else that say we left out about the needs, the physical needs of persons with autism?
I think she's raised the issue of colour. I think that's very important. People with autism very often have acute sensitivity, hyper or hyposensitivity to noise and colour. So it's very important to have the kind of colours that will ensure that there aren't triggers of challenging behaviour that actually create the right kind of environment for people with autism. So we've been working very closely to ensure that actually the building is designed in a way that is suitable for the group that will be using it.
Okay. What would you be telling the persons that you'll be training? What do they need to know in order to manage children and adults with autism?
They have to have a very clear knowledge of autism and what it is, the kind of issues that they will deal with in helping that individual to reduce, for example, their anxiety. People with autism often have very high levels of anxiety. They will need to be able to respond to and create a calm environment that doesn't have any triggers for challenging behaviour, for example, so that they have to really understand the nature of autism, the best way to communicate with someone. Very often that's quite counterintuitive. People believe that they know what they're doing, but they really do have to understand autism in order to be good staff and support people in the right way.
So they have to talk softer to them, perhaps. They have to be certain inflection in their voices so that the person feels a sense of safety and security. How does that work?
I think that the most important thing that we notice is that staff have to feel very confident. When people have anxiety, they have to feel the staff really understand them and take control of the situation. I think it's about staff feeling really confident they can handle any situation. If people with autism feel that the staff feel uncertain, that can often cause difficulties. So it's really giving a real sense of confidence that they can handle people.
So they sense, the people with autism will sense that the person is perhaps insecure or afraid, and that would create a difficulty.
So they have to feel very confident in their knowledge, very confident in their ability to handle that individual and support them in what they're doing.
How long is the training going to take?
There'll have to be an induction. We provide, in addition to induction, 10 days training a year for each staff member. That's quite unusual in the UK to have that extent of training in social care. So this is the basic support staff. Obviously, for people like teachers and professionals, it's very different. It's usually longer and more detailed. But certainly for the kind of support staff that we have.
So you're going to be focusing on the support staff. The professionals will have to come as professionals.
And Dr. Prowse will be helping them and providing specific training for them as professionals. That would be different to the support staff on the ground.
Is there any particular qualification or disposition that you're looking for in persons that you would like to train?
No, we find very interesting. People often think that if you're dealing with people who have challenging behaviour that they have to be quite forceful. Actually, we find the opposite. We find that people who are very calm and quiet are actually the best kind of personalities to support people.
So is that something that you're going to be looking for, the personalities of the person, before you decide? Are you going to say, well, this person, well, we don't want to choose him because he's just too hyper. Somebody like me, I couldn't get trained.
But I think that obviously they have to be supported on a daily basis by professionals, clinicians, who can help them to understand and build and develop programs that are appropriate for the individual.
So, for the training?
Yeah, and for day-to-day support.
Okay, because that sounds interesting. So from a speech pathologist perspective, autistic people have challenges in speaking, so you would need to be able to get them to communicate. How does that work?
It all depends on their level of functioning. Some of them have no speech, some of them have speech, some of them, in between, no two children with autism will be exactly the same. So it's basically you're going to have to cater to individual needs.
So a person with no speech has a potential of developing speech,
yes, they do,
and a person who has limited speech can develop further.
Yes.
That's what's been found?
Yes. It all depends on their level of functioning, their cognitive skills as well.
Okay.
I think in addition to that those who can never develop speech, there are communication methods whether through pictures or through signing, that can help people. And certainly a lot of the people we support use signing methods to communicate, and our staff are trained in signing methods.
Okay. I want to take a break again, and I want to bring on Dr. Powers to talk about autism, what it is, and the varying levels of autism, and how it's diagnosed, and what the symptoms are, what you look for, and so on. So I want to give you an opportunity before you go to say anything that I forgot to ask you. Or I didn't know how to ask.
I think the only thing I would say is that in my experience, our job really is to support the families. Families of people with autism very often struggle. A feeling of loss of having a child who has a profound disability, and therefore all our work has to be centred around supporting the family to support the individual, because their lives can be very tough.
So you're going to also be training persons to go to the homes and deal with the parents and teach the parents how to manage the person with autism as well. Is that going to be part of the training?
The family are a key member of the team. In fact, many parents are experts themselves. We've met parents here who are, through experience, experts, and they know their child very well, whether it's a child who's young or a child who's an adult. And we need to listen to them and support them, because it's tough for them.
So you help them deal with some of the stressors as well?
Yeah.
Right.
So that, because I imagine that a parent with an autistic child could perhaps get very violent and would want to abuse the child out of ignorance, out of not knowing what is happening with the child.
We've never found that, but I
Really?
think that I do think that it's they very often learn by trial and error what's the best thing to do, and we need to listen. They can often tell us what things trigger upset in their child, what their child likes to do, what's their normal life, what their aspirations are. So we need to listen to the family, and certainly our assessment includes an assessment of the family and their views, in addition to assessment of the individual.
Okay. Well, Ms. Susan Osborne, thank you very much for coming to Spotlight.
Pleasure.
And it's good to have you in the BVI to help with the program. Seems like it's more needed than many of us in the BVI might like to believe or admit or think. So I think it's great that you're here, and it's great that you're bringing this information and sharing this information with us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Dr. Sally Powers of the charity, the Kingwood Charity, and we're going to talk about autism itself, what it is, the symptoms, what to look for, how to deal with some of the behaviors of the children, whole host of long-ranging questions, and we are going to also open up the phone line so you can have an opportunity to ask questions that I don't know how to ask. So you keep it locked right here to Spotlight. We are going to be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Bolo's High Tech Printery, Virgin Island Motors, and Clarence Thomas Limited.